Red is definitely the color of the season. So as we are known to do, make a comeback in dramatic fashion. Let us spring into action and show you all that is exciting with Cardinal sports. Have you ever tried to fail to get a top off a pop bottle? We did. Merry Christmas to all. Sportsnight is next.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Shapiro. I've never had a problem taking the top off a pop bottle before. And even Country Strong Hennin couldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
That was weird.
I did get home and use the vice grips, and came right off. But I appreciate the effort.
I tried.
I do.
You saw on that clip,
and
I tried.
We were very busy this past week, and the CTN cameras even busier. We have a lot of stuff to talk about on tonight's edition of Sports Night. And just because of where the holidays fall this year, it looks like we're not going to skip a week. We usually have at least 1 week off of Sports Night for Christmas or New Year's, but not this week. We're just going to keep right on rolling.
That's a win for everybody out there. It's an early Christmas present.
And it's been such a great season from start of fall. The fall season rolls right into the winter. We're just going to keep it rolling.
Yes.
A lot of stuff to talk about on tonight's episode. We'll start with the boys hockey team. Cardinals had a pair of non-conference games last week, starting with a visit from Irondale on Tuesday. The Knights, now playing in the Suburban East, were coming in on a 3-game losing streak and at 1-4 on the season. Cardinals, fresh off their first win of the year, were trying to build momentum and saw this as a good opportunity to get another victory. Midway through the first, Evan Anderson with a shot from the point. Lucas Lapointe redirects out front. Knights get the only goal in the opening period. Same formula works again for Irondale early in the second. Anderson with another shot from the point. Nolan Neurer with the tip this time, and the Knights have a 2-goal lead. Cardinals get one back in the final seconds of the period. Puck in deep, Kamani Poor digs it free, finds Ryan Corey at the back door. 1.7 seconds left in the second period. Little bit of a selly fail for Captain Corey, but the fans love it anyway. Irondale spreads the lead again on the power play in the opening minute of the third. Shelves it short side. It's 3-1 Knights. Cardinals down, but not out. Get a scrappy one with a little more than 5 minutes left. Ryan Corey gets in close and gets it off the goalie. Harry Koval jumps on the loose change, and it's back to a 1-goal game. They gain a little bit of momentum. Good pressure on the forecheck from the Cardinals. Derek Avery plays it to Andrew Racine at the point. He shoots quick to the far side. His first varsity goal evens the score, and it sends us to overtime. And they go deep into the extra period. Knights win the offensive zone faceoff. Evan Anderson from the point again gets through traffic and finds the back of the net. Knights get the 4-3 win. And they did give Anderson the credit for that goal, but it certainly looks like it was tipped. I talked to some of the parents on Saturday. They said it was definitely tipped. So just an assist from the point, and all three were on wrist shots. Kept it low, gave his guys a chance to deflect it. Makes it very tough on the goaltender. But, Cardinals, I think, great job coming back, battling back, seeing their potential, forcing overtime, even though they come up with a loss. Yeah, we were working that night, so you weren't able to be there. But, yeah, that's a tough one because when you got all of a sudden you have the momentum back, you tie it up, you send it into overtime, and granted it went deep into that overtime period. It's an unfortunate loss when you can't get that win on your home ice. Yeah. Even more unfortunate is when you're not able to continue that type of play the next time you take the ice. On Saturday, Cardinals traveled to take on a Roseville Raider team that had lost 6 straight, and the Cardinals barely put up a fight, losing to the Raiders 7-0. Aaron Young gets the first start of his first varsity start, and he makes 33 saves. I thought the kid played pretty well, but the boys did not. And
10 shots.
The coaching staff not too terribly pleased with the boys. Took them back, and they did do a little bit of extra conditioning after that game because they didn't feel the effort was there. And that's the thing with this team. They have enough talent. If they show the heart, they can be a really good team, but they have to all be on the same page, working together and all giving it everything every time they touch the ice. and then they can be a team that other teams have to take notice of.
And that's not always easy to do, obviously. I mean, you have to be firing in all cylinders. And unfortunately, and you obviously were there, 10 shots on goal is not going to get it done. No. Maybe 10 shots in a period, but certainly not throughout the entire game. The coolest thing on that stat, though, was AEN 33 saves. I just love it. I love it.
The Cardinals are headed to Duluth for a tournament this weekend. It starts against Owatonna, and as fate would have it, there's a chance they see Irondale and Roseville again in that order in the tournament. Irondale starts with Mankato West. Roseville on the other side of the bracket gets Apple Valley in the first round. The hosts from Denfeld play De Pere, Wisconsin to start, and that's on Thursday. Through Saturday, we'll have obviously results for you next week on Sportsnight. They get back to conference play against Spring Lake Park on Saturday the 4th.
And you're taking a road trip.
Yes, sir.
Very fun, very fun. Well, the girls' hockey team had a unique experience this past weekend, a home-and-home series with the newly formed co-op from Anoka, Spring Lake Park. Both teams were .500 on the season, and the Bluebirds had a half-game advantage in the conference standings. It would be a well-matched series with a lot riding on the outcome. Game 1, Friday night at Fowey. Late in the first, McClellan dumps it in. Delaney Johnson wins the race to the puck, walks in, finds the 5-hole to put the Bluebirds on the board first. Nice goal there. Well, they're going to strike again. Just 10 seconds later, off the ensuing face-off, puck played in deep. Erica Thiessen plays it to the slot. Grayson Newell's first chance block. She gets it back, scores her first of the season. CPCR up 2 with 3:23 left in the first. But Anoka Spring Lake Park gets one before the break. Lindsay Albers charging around the corner. Johnson makes a save, but Maddie Meshuggah cashes in on the rebound. 2-1 after 1. Early in the second, Thundercats on the attack. Meshuggah's shot hits traffic, bounces right to Albers. She scores. The game is tied at 2. Anoka Spring Lake Park, so they're looking for the lead on the power play. And Carmen with a point-blank chance out front, but Johnson slides across to shut it down. She made 35 saves on Friday night. Final minute of the second, Bluebirds power play, and they have numbers on the rush. Kennedy Bolander stopped from the short angle, but the rebound bounces around, comes to Abby Ness at the back door. She puts it home. On the backhand, the Bluebirds take the lead. It turned out to be the game winner. They were outshot 14-4 in the final period, but the most important thing, they held on for the 3-2 win.
Yeah, and they were outshot in both games against Anoka Spring Lake Park, but a nice weekend for Elia Johnson helped them secure not one, but 2 victories over the squad from Anoka Spring Lake Park. On Saturday afternoon, they were at Crick, and the Cardinals come out, or the Bluebirds rather, come out on top 3-2 on home ice. Had to go to overtime. Anna Bezcalo got the game winner just over a minute into the extra period. Elia Johnson made 19 saves, gave up 2, but the Bluebirds get 2 big wins against a conference opponent that spreads them out in the standings. Nobody's going to catch Andover at the top of the standings, but this puts them in the battle. Maybe not even for 2, but definitely in those 3 and 4 spots.
Yeah, and it's nice to get now you're a couple of games above .500, so
yes.
You're in that win part of the column, and that's important as well.
The Bluebirds are at Elk River on Thursday, and then they will play Cloquet Esco Carleton on January the 2nd, which is a week from Thursday. Wrestling team's week started with a trip to Blaine on Thursday for a dual meet with the Bengals. This one had more intensity coming into it than in most years. Bengals and Cardinals had been ranked 14 and 15, but in the rankings that came out just before the meet, Cardinals move up to number 9, while the Bengals fell to 17. Blaine had an extra chip on their shoulder to prove the rankings wrong, while the Cardinals were determined to prove they deserved to keep moving up. Cardinals forced to forfeit at 106, and the Bengals able to see some momentum early on. Cooper Larson uses an armbar to get Israel Medimba rolled over in the first period at 120. So his pin helped them build a sizable lead. Third period at 152, Dalen Jones tries to roll his man over, gets caught. Cole Lafreniere is Blaine's highest-ranked wrestler. He takes advantage, puts a headlock on, and gets the pin. 28-5 with 6 matches left. Cardinals start to get it turned around with a battle at 160. Goes to overtime. Demetrius Seals gets a takedown right on the edge of the mat in the extra period to score a 9-7 decision. Coon Rapids gets some momentum and bonus points from there. Elijah Medimba gets his man in the cradle at 170. rolls him to his shoulders, gets the pin late in the second period. Zach Thomas will follow that with another pin at 182. He rolls Andrew Huss to the mat and gets the pin, lead down to 28-20. After a Bengal decision at 195, Cardinals needed pins at 220 in heavyweight in order to win. Riley Hargrave trailing 10-0 starting the third period at 220. He gets a reversal, puts his man in a headlock, squeezes for the pin. Just 30 seconds into the third period, huge come-from-behind win for Hargrave. And that meant it all comes down to heavyweight, and Gavin Layton didn't waste any time. Dominates Xavier Powers, pins him in just 1 minute, 4 seconds. Cardinals score a huge come-from-behind victory all the way around, winning by the slimmest of margins, 32-31. And it really looked like, after the second period at 220, we were starting to say, that all, I'm forgetting his name, but all their wrestler had to do was come out and avoid at least a technical fall.
Right.
If he lost by a decision or a major decision, the Bengals would still have clinched. And here we are, he's got a 10-0 lead. Looks like he's in control. Just 30 seconds into the third period, Hargrave gets the reversal and then gets him right to his back, squeezes a solid headlock for the pin. Just a huge win, and then you knew that the big guy was going to get it done.
Most of the match was really kind of sleepy. I mean,
Yeah.
we saw a number of periods, where, especially that second period, where no points were scored.
Several periods.
Yeah, so the Cardinals, I think, were down, 28-5 at one point.
Correct.
And they made that comeback to go 28-20, then up 30. They were up 31-20 to get those 2 pins, especially that first of the two. We knew Layton coming in. He was rated number 6, I believe, in the guillotine, and we knew coming in that he probably would get that win. But the fact that Riley got that pin at the end after trail. Huge. It was so much fun. So much fun.
The whole atmosphere in that gym completely changed when he got that, because I think a lot of the Cardinals, even on the bench, were starting to think, we may miss this one. Their wrestler was down. The Blaine fans were alive, and the switch flipped. And it was a lot of fun. I'm glad we could be there for it.
Yes.
Wrestling team went to Rochester over the weekend for the Minnesota Christmas tournament. They had 3 guys finish in places. No surprise, Gavin Layton on top of the pack at the heavyweight division, taking first place, 4-0 with a pin. Nick Lattery, after an early loss, battled his way back to a 6th place finish. Finished 5-2 on the weekend. Alex Kowalchuk was 7th place with a 4-2, and Enoch Medema, at 113, did go 2-2. There were some other guys that had decent performances, but only the 3 able to place.
Yep.
A couple of others. A really interesting note: they had 2 guys that were finished on defensive pins, meaning they were in control and essentially accidentally pinned themselves. Bob Adams said,
"That's crazy."
Bob Adams says he doesn't think he's seen one in 20 years, and it happened twice to them while in Rochester.
Crazy.
So kind of a weird thing, but see how the Cardinals deal with adversity. Another huge tournament coming up next weekend up in Fargo, the Rumble on the Red, one of the biggest tournaments in the upper Midwest every year. And then they have the Farmington Duels a week from Saturday.
Well, after some disappointing scores in their first couple events, the Cardinals gymnastics team took a big leap last week and scored a win over Park Center. The Pirates are a little less imposing than the Elk River team the Cardinals saw in their season opener, but it was more about reaching their potential than worrying about what the competition had to offer. All through the lineup, the Cardinals saw their scores improve. No surprise to see Aaliyah Vu leading the way. She has a little step on the landing, but wins the event with an 8.85. Teammate and co-captain Cassie Rushmeyer is right behind her. A very solid vault here earns her a 2nd place with an 8.7. As a team, Cards score a 34.5 on the vault. Now the monitor just went out. We're gonna okay, so that's a clean dismount. I got that here. Now we're gonna move on to the beam. Rachel Dieter's very steady and in control. Watch the dismount, back somersault with a full twist in the layout.
Now you're ahead of the game.
Okay, now I'm ahead of it.
There's the
layout. That's going to help her take first place with an 8.5. The Cardinals get to the finish with their strongest event, the floor exercise. This is Rushmeyer again. This tumbling run, part of a routine that would earn her a 9.0. Great score. She has to settle for 2nd place. Dieters has been Cardinals leader on the floor for a couple of years, and it stands true. She gets a 9.2 finish on the floor. Dieters second in the all-around. Vu was number 1. Cardinals score a 130 for the three-point win.
A 130.3 for the win.
Sorry.
That's all right.
That would be correct.
That just so you know, that one never went out. This one's blinking, just to test your
well, you know,
skills.
I look straight ahead, and next time I'll
fun with teleprompters. But yeah, a great match for him. A 130 was fantastic. We knew, and we talked about it in the preview. They got to it a couple times at the end of last year. We figured that they that was still their goal coming in. Great to see him earn it early in the year. I really think they can hit 135 or higher this season. Yeah,
and that's just the results there prove it. I mean, the fact that they see their scores increasing, it's great things for the gymnastics squad.
Yeah, they've got some time off for the holidays. They have Blaine in a dual meet on Saturday, January 11th, and then they're at Champlain Park on Monday, the 13th. Swimming and diving team had a couple of huge dual meets this past week, facing two of their biggest conference rivals. While it's early in the season, these matchups with Anoka and Blaine could be big factors at the end of the year. Cardinals looking to start strong against the Tornadoes, a team they haven't beaten in a long time. Cardinals had plenty of first-place finishes against the Tornadoes, including 4 of the first 5 events. 200 freestyle, Nick Melsha in the center lane, able to close out the race strong, get to the wall in 1 minute, 52.66 seconds. After finishing 2-3 in the 200 IM, Tyler Schultz gets them another first place in the 50 free, out-touching guys on either side of him in 22.73 seconds. Cardinals up 32-30 going to diving, and they got a 1-2-3 finish there. We didn't get the video added in. Jack Simmer had a great showing, 197.45. This is Tyler Schultz getting another first place in the 100 free, tagging up at 49.64. Meet all tied at 63 after 8 events. One more blue ribbon for the Cardinals, Matt Struess in the 100 backstroke. But the Tornadoes' depth is the difference in this meet, and it gives them the edge down the stretch. While the Cardinals got all those first place, the Tornadoes too often were 2-3 and sometimes 2-3-4, and that would help them secure the 104-82 victory over the Cardinals.
Yeah, it was a really good competition. It was back and forth for most of the evening, but you're right, though. We talked about it during that event, that there's just too much depth. Those 2, 3, and 4 place finishes, even though the Cardinals may finish first, Anoka's still getting the advantage in points.
Yeah, definitely. We saw a lot of Cardinal wins where they did get 2, 3, 4, which means Anoka was outscoring him 9-7 in the event, even though Cardinals were finishing on top of the podium. But as it shakes out, the more important of the two is Blaine, because Blaine is in their section, so it means a little bit more. And they share the pool, so there's always those bragging rights. And for the second year in a row, the Cardinals have topped the Bengals 96-88 the final on Thursday. Tyler Schultz first place in the 100 free and the 100 breast. Nick Melsha first place in the 200 IM and the 500 free. Jack Simmer first place off the board, 20 points lower than what he scored on Tuesday, but still takes first place. And Matt Struess first place in the 100 back. Just some of the fantastic finishes, and we see it early on. A couple of guys coming in really stepped up their game in the offseason. They need those depth positions to kind of come up and start getting them some of those second, third, fourth places.
And, and hopefully that comes as the season progresses. But the fact that all those first place finishes, nice to see. And the fact that they're increasing their times as they go. Obviously Coach Donaldson would say that's the most important thing.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what they're able to accomplish come section time. A couple of guys that definitely have a strong shot at going to state.
Yep.
They have a huge tournament coming up on Saturday the 4th over at the University of Minnesota, the annual Maroon and Gold Invite. And then they're back to dual action at Centennial on Tuesday the 7th. Nordic Ski Team, a couple of events this past week, started with a Northwest Suburban Conference skate race on, I believe that was Wednesday. And Cardinals did well. Boys finished in second place, led by Josh Thorne, who finished 4th. Jared Heider right behind him in 5th. Noah Christensen in 8th. Gilliard was 15th, and Petrov right behind him in 16th, but 3 guys in the top 10. Outstanding. Girls team finished 5th. Abby Ellenbecker continues to rack up blue ribbons as she takes first place in 15 minutes and 30 seconds. Lila Gilliard in a tie for 9th place. Ingvildson was 14th, and then Hoagland 40th, and Kerr finished in 51st. And then over the weekend, they were in Mora for what they called the mini tour. I had some trouble deciphering these results, I'm not going to lie. There were like 8 different races, and it was hard to find Cardinals. But some of the ones that I did find that had nice finishes, Ricky Petrov tied for 2nd place in the Classic and 4th in the Pursuit. Jared Haida was the one he tied with in that Pursuit race. And in 4th place, Miles Gilliard was 14th in the skate race. On the girls' side, Lila Gilliard, a 7th place finish in the Classic, and 16th in the skate. But a lot of names I didn't see, and it's because I'm sure I wasn't looking at them correctly, and I was confused by how many races there were. But I kept looking, and that's what I found.
One question: were you wearing your glasses?
Yes.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure. Because otherwise, if you didn't have them, I can understand how you may have missed a few.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Sure.
The Nordic Ski Teams will be in Hayward, Wisconsin this weekend for a tournament there. And then a 5K Classic race will be held on Wednesday, January the 8th, which is also, just by chance, Elvis's birthday.
All right.
Alpine Ski Team had its first race of the season on Tuesday. Unfortunately, I was not able to get results for that. I will update our viewing audience if we do get those. Now, they're off until Thursday the 9th when they have race 2 at Trollhagen. And then the following Thursday, the 16th, I believe they're back at Wild Mountain. Boys basketball team, 3 games this past week. Started against Armstrong. Cardinals lose a tough one to the Falcons, 74-58 on their home floor. Nice effort from Lucky Morange with 19 points and 4 steals. Jackson Aurelius had 11 points. Jordan Doe just shy of double digits. And Elijah Smith had 7 points and 3 rebounds. Then on Friday, they played Maple Grove at Maple Grove, and they lost by 10 to the Crimson. Jackson Aurelius, another nice night, 19 points, 5 boards. Lucky Morange, 16 and 2 steals. Jordan Doe into double digits with 11 points and 5 steals. So 3 guys in double digits, and we're seeing more and more guys contribute on this team.
Which is what Coach O wants, quite obviously.
And they've got some pieces that have kind of disappeared from the scoring that can be big contributors, and we'll see what happens and when they're able to get them back on track and if they can get them all going together, which, of course, is what they want. They're hoping for.
Exactly. Let's see if I can get through this one. The Cardinals were back home Saturday and hoping to break their 3-game skid. The St. Francis Saints came in at 3-3, and they'd be hungry to get back on the winning track after seeing their 3-game win streak end on Thursday. But the Cardinals came out fast and on fire and made sure they'd get the win in front of the home crowd. Coon Rapids wastes no time building a lead. Lucky Morange pushes it over to MJ Galama. He takes the long 3, drains it. Coon Rapids up 15-5. Well, they had no plans to slow down. Good patience on the perimeter. Morange will take the open look this time. Part of a 19-point effort for Lucky. Cardinals continue to dominate before the break. Watch the moves on Galama. He looks like MJ as he puts the defender on the floor. Led all scores with 21. Cards up 36-16 at the half. Well, the Saints actually outscored the Cardinals in the second. They made it interesting. Kenstead Jackson hits the long bomb. That made it 43-39. But the Cardinals, they don't let it get any closer than that. Defense turns to offense. Coon Rapids on the run. Talon Elmi lays it up. Left hand, lead back to double digits. Now defense coming up big again, forcing the turnover, leading to a fast break points. Jackson Aurelius goes up strong, takes the contact, hits the basket. He had 18 in the game, and the Cardinals cruise to the 72-63 win.
Yeah, they need wins like that.
They do.
In that one, they had 4 guys in double digits. Yep. So that's great to see. And some of those guys consistently putting up bigger numbers each week or each time they hit the floor. I really like this team, and I like what they, a little bit of a slow start as far as the win-loss column goes. 2-4 is certainly not as well as they had hoped, but a team with a lot of potential and down the stretch. And that's when it matters.
When you get one guy who scores 21, 118, 117, that's the way you want to play. You want guys like that scoring those kind of numbers night in and night out if you can get it. And that's a good win for the Cardinals.
Yeah, they'll take it, and obviously a team that they did only have 3 guys in about double digits, but yeah, 18, 19, and 21.
Yep.
You'll take that.
Absolutely.
You'll take that for sure, and a couple of guys at 7. That's a nice game, and maybe a little bit softer opponent in St. Francis than what they see night in and night out in their conference, but any win you can get, you'll take, especially when you're struggling early in the year.
But if you're playing against a soft opponent, you have to take advantage like that, and they did so.
Well, and they've got a chance to try and extend that. They've got some teams coming in for their own holiday tournament coming up this Friday and Saturday. And Howie?
We'll be there.
I will.
Well, you won't.
You will.
Well,
I appreciate it. I'll tune in. I'll be tuning in from
now no one's going to show up if you're not there, so I try not to let that out of the bag.
But we do hope that people will fill the gym for that.
They
Should
will.
be an exciting event. And then Spring Lake Park on Tuesday the 7th. And they get back to action. And, like I said, I think this is a team that's far from reaching the potential that they have. Girls team started their week with Armstrong as well. They lose a close one, just 6 points to the Falcons, dropping their record to 1-5. Ella Georgie had 13 points in the loss. Sid Kerr added 9. Nicole Post had 8. Jenny and Tomboy 6. And Macy Holland had 5 points in that game. And the schedule certainly didn't get any easier. On Friday, the Cardinals hosted 7th-ranked Maple Grove. Crimson came in on a 5-game win streak, and their only losses were to Always Strong Eden Prairie and 2nd-ranked Wayzata. It would be a lot to handle, and the Cardinals could only hope was to keep it close as long as possible. Cardinals do get the first bucket of the ball game. Benny Kalala taking it coast to coast and scoring with the left hand. They're able to keep it close in the early going, at least. Kalala again. This time with the dish to Macy Holland for the layup. Coon Rapids only trailing by 1 at that point, but the Crimson take over the middle of the first half. After a slow start on offense, they get everybody going. Sophia Corman scores in close, sparks a big run by Maple Grove. Abby Schulte didn't shoot much in the first half, but she can't turn down the open look from the corner. She nets the 3. Crimson starting to pull away. Scored a lot of points off of turnovers. Hand in the lane on this pass. Sends Ari Gordon on the breakaway. She scores easily. 17 unanswered points, and Maple Grove is up big. Cardinals went almost 6 minutes without a point. The streak ends when Nicole Post is able to spot up and knock down a 3-pointer. Cardinals go to the locker room trailing 35-14, and the Crimson continue to cruise in the second. Perimeter scoring extends the lead. 6 of Maple Grove's 9 3-pointers were in the second half. They had 4 players in double digits. Jordan Lamker led all scorers with 18. It ends with running time, 68-33, Maple Grove, the final. And, it's a really good basketball team for Maple Grove.
They showed why they're number 7. And I think they, like you mentioned, they started out decently, the Cardinals, but Maple Grove really dominated after that. And I think, the frustrating part, I think the Cardinals played better in the second half. The frustrating part, I think, way too many turnovers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and a team that really was scoring at will and scoring from all parts of the floor.
Yep.
Makes it really hard to defend. But that's the kind of game that shows the Cardinals where they have to get to in order to reach the goals they've set for themselves. And remember, again, this girls' basketball team, only 1 senior, so everybody on that team is gaining great experience.
You bet.
And they will be a very well seasoned team next season. And I think they can make some noise even by the end of this season.
I think so too. And again, if they control their offense, move the ball around the perimeter, look for good shots, do not turn the ball over, they've got some size underneath it. I think they need to take advantage of that.
Well, we'll see what they can do against an opponent that plays in maybe a little bit softer conference. Their next game is on Friday the 3rd when they host the Lakers from Minneapolis Southwest.
The home that built Joe Young.
I didn't want to say too much about it being a soft team, but definitely the Minneapolis City Conference is not the Northwest Suburban.
No.
So But you talked about it. When you're seeing those softer teams, hopefully they can go out and take advantage, get some things to work a little bit better than they have the last couple of times out. And then they get Spring Lake Park at home on Tuesday the 7th, and that's another team kind of in the middle of the Northwest Suburban that they hope to be able to take by surprise.
I think they're telling us that we're out of time.
We are, and here's what we have coming up for you here on CTN. The Cardinal Classic starts with a game against Como Park on Friday at 7. Be there.
Be there.
I'll be tuning in to make sure that I see everything that's happening as best I can. And then they will play either on Saturday afternoon or early evening, depending on win or loss. And then we got girls hockey against the Cloquet Esco Carlton Lumberjacks at the Forum on the 7th.
That's going to do it.
That is going to do it.
Merry Christmas.
For this edition of Sportsnight. I want to thank the outfit for joining us, continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including Howie Shapiro, we'd like to say thank you. Happy and safe holidays to everyone out there. We'll see you next time.